Last year, I had the opportunity to have a dream job, a dream client, a role where I got to combine my best skill set, which is making movies, with something I'm deeply passionate about, which is going outdoors. And who that client was a company that built camper vans. Everything on paper indicates that that is an absolute dream job for somebody like myself, somebody who loves to get outdoors. But it would be a roller coaster ride of ups and downs. And while I was in this dream scenario, combining something that I was great at doing with something that I loved to do as well, it didn't exactly bring me the fulfillment that I wanted. And with my story here of my experience, I think there's a few lessons to take away about where you actually can find fulfillment in your life. And it's not necessarily the work you do. Hi, my name is Chris. You're watching Nomad Over Normal, a channel where we dive deep into the departure of a conventional lifestyle on a mission to find intention within ourselves. Thanks for contributing to the conversation today. One day I saw a post from somebody who eventually would become my client, a family-run camper van company based out of California, asking questions about how to promote their business. I responded with something general, something like, have you tried making your own content? And thus spun off a conversation where I found out that they built their entire $1 million+ company off the backbone of a couple influencer videos. And I thought that was a wonderful opportunity to say, hey, maybe we should have a conversation because this is what I do for a living. I help businesses make content so that they can grow. Now, this was a massive undertaking. Basically, I was building them a YouTube channel. There would be a library of content describing their builds, tours of their vehicles, and the thinking behind their engineering so that somebody can make an educated buying decision before contacting them. In order for me to do that much work, it involved me going to California twice in order to shoot. The second trip was really exciting because it was going to be a full month excursion where I got to bring my girlfriend with me for her to experience the West Coast for the first time. Being in California was a dream because we got to experience living out of a van, not just using it as a prop for a video. And in so many ways, actually in probably every single way that you could imagine, living out of this particular van was easier than living out of our house. My girlfriend, Christy Lee, has some health challenges that makes leaving the house difficult sometimes for us. We never leave the house without a cooler full of food, plans for where we can use the bathroom, and we always need to account for the opportunity to sit or lay down so she can rest. From day one of being in the van, we had all of those things accessible to us within 50 feet of wherever we were. And Christy Lee doesn't have a lot of experience traveling, so this van, even with her condition, gave her the opportunity to see parts of the country that she otherwise would not have been able to experience. One of the first things we did when we got the van was go right to Trader Joe's to go grocery shopping. And we wheeled that cart up right to the door of the van, and I passed along food as she put it right directly into the fridge. We didn't even have to bag our groceries. On cold nights, we had heat. Hot days, we had air conditioning. And most of all, there was a sense of limited obligations or responsibilities. The van was easy to clean. It allowed us to focus on experiences and work, which we were there to do. Over the span of 1 week, we filmed over a dozen YouTube videos, which is a ridiculous amount of content to produce. And of course, to film that much footage of me talking and that much B-roll to accompany it, it took months of preparation and research to figure out exactly what videos we were going to film and what had to be covered in those videos in order to help the sales goals of the company. So the way our day was structured was we would wake up really early because of the desert heat. We had to film early in the morning before the sun got too hot and would bake us for the rest of the day. So while I would go out to film, Christy Lee would be making breakfast for us. I'd come back from filming and we'd eat breakfast. After breakfast, we would review the shot list of what B-roll we had to get of the van or the environments that we were in. And we would do this every single day, multiple times a day, and then on top of that, pack our bags and travel. Because everywhere in Southern California takes a long time to get to, especially when you're out there in the desert where the nearest gas station could be 3 hours away. While the experience of the van was really fulfilling, the work was fulfilling as well because we were making an impact. There was a reason that we were making these videos. When I was hired by this van company for this massive project, there was really one major goal in mind. The company wanted to have predictable income in the future because they were sort of just selling a couple vans at a time, and they wanted to pre-sell out. And if we could help them increase their sales, that increases predictability and things would run smoother. So this is a really big project, and it takes a lot of adaptability on my part to adjust the plan according to where the company was headed to. And in my particular case here, the biggest challenge was communication. I had encountered some challenges where there were instances that my work and intentions weren't effectively communicated to the team. I was assigned a certain contact point. This lack of communication made it difficult for me to adapt, and it made it difficult for them to know what I was doing. And no one was really aware of how much effort I was putting in behind the scenes. I would just show up. People would be surprised as to what I had planned and then think that I was kind of winging it when I put everything I had to this project. One instance, when Christy Lee and I arrived in California, I had my trip itinerary planned out and knew what we were going to do. But there was a higher up at the company that knew none of this. And I wasn't aware that he wasn't aware of what I was going to do. And shortly after I arrived, I got an email from the higher up that said basically, "This sounds like a nice vacation." And to me, it just showed that the efforts that I was putting into the relationship were definitely going unnoticed. And so throughout the trip, even though we had all those great experiences of adventures and creating content, there was this overwhelming pressure for me to perform, even though I was completely prepared. And that limited the ability for me to enjoy and perform at the level that I wanted to. They probably felt that I was an unorganized flake. Normally when I work with a client, there's an ongoing conversation throughout the week. I know a lot of information about the business and I'm just fed updates of what's going on so that I know what to do. And it's a pivotal role in the sales process. But my time working with this company, there were weekly check-ins that we had an assigned time to meet every week. But the thing is, if directions changed, new plans were happening, or events were coming up, I wasn't told unless I remembered to ask about them. We would meet on a Tuesday. Every single Tuesday, it'd be a 5-minute phone call, relatively easygoing. Ahead of one of these meetings, I texted my contact at the company to say that, hey, I'm gonna call you the next day because tonight I'm going to a baseball game with some friends. As the game was ending, I had received a text with a Zoom link for a video call with this person. Now, I normally do phone calls with this contact. To get a Zoom link was a bit weird. I texted him back, I said, hey, I can't meet tonight. Like I said, I'm at the game, I'll call you tomorrow. Then I get group chatted with the contact person and the higher up at the company, where the higher up basically scolded me for flaking on this meeting. Now I had no idea that the higher up would be part of this meeting, and I didn't know that it was going to be a video call to begin with. I'd already given them warning I was going to call him the next day. So now tensions were extra high, and we had a formal Zoom meeting, all three of us together, where we discussed what the working relationship would be like. And at this time, I was just feeling so burnt out, undervalued, and I just felt completely outcasted from the company. So what I just wanted to do was like get the work done and get it to them as fast as possible on a strict timeline. So on the call that we had, they asked me when the videos would be done, and granted, it was about 80 or 90 videos that I had to get done. I said, I need 45 days. They actually didn't believe me that I'd be able to deliver this amount of work in that amount of time, but I put my head down and I did it. So the following day after the meeting, I gave them a schedule. The videos that I had shot were supposed to be delivered over the course of the year. So I fast-tracked the delivery of this work so that we can work together and it would be good to go, because I knew that once I delivered all the videos, there was no more communication errors that could have happened. The rest of the year, they could choose to include me or not, but I over-delivered in a fast period of time because I just wanted to appease the process and make everyone happy. However, after delivering all the videos, they decided that they didn't want to pay me anymore. Their point of view was like, oh, we already got the videos, why should we pay you? And I was like, they owed me money for services rendered, but what was I gonna do? They literally told me to sue them. And I was like, guys, I slept at your house when I was in California. If I sue them, it's gonna actually ruin the company. And on top of that, it's gonna be very, very stressful for me. So I'm gonna walk away from the money. And I walked away from many tens of thousands of dollars that they owed me for work that I had delivered them. And that was really, really frustrating because I believed in the product. If I was in the market for a van, I would buy it from this company. I believed in the people, and to some regard, I feel like they didn't believe in me, but I just feel like they didn't recognize the work that I was putting in because there was a communication barrier between my contact point and what they heard of me. So the lesson that I learned was that I have to be really, really careful not to just pick my dream job for what I do or the type of company that I work with, but I have to focus on working with the type of people that can recognize the efforts that I put into the work. While my dream job didn't give me like the happiness I was expecting, it gave me the opportunity to learn from within myself that the happiness and fulfillment that I'm looking for comes not from the things that we're chasing, but the process of getting to them. I got to experience living in a van, something I've always wanted to do. I got to experience showing my girlfriend the great outdoors on the West Coast, something that we literally could not do without the van. And I got to make content around a subject matter that I was really passionate about. The thing that I'm looking for in my clients right now is a collaboration where they view me as valuable enough to include in their decisions. And so far, that's been working wonderfully for me. Don't forget to leave a like on your way out.